Chapter 6 of the Operations Management Total Quality Management is the High Performance Workforce Management. Now, the chapter will give us an idea on how organizations will learn on how to satisfy the customers. Now, before you satisfy the customers, the organizations, so the employees or the management must first satisfy the internal composition of the organization, which is the employees. So employees first before the others, the customers. Now, uh, we focus on the key workforce practices for performance excellence. How? We try to understand that the key factors that will involve in driving the workforce engagement would be uh, satisfaction and motivation. So these two will work hand in hand for it to be able to make a better understanding of the definition. Now, uh, some of the performance excellence practices would include the design, an effective design, and efficient management work and jobs to promote an effective communication, uh, uh, a very good cooperation, the skill sharing, empowerment, innovation, and the ability to benefit from the diverse ideas and the thinking of employees to develop an organizational culture that is conducive to high performance and motivation. Okay. Now, the practices for performance excellence will also create a safe environment, ensuring the improved workplace in terms of security, in terms of safety and health, in terms of support the workers through the policy that is going to be imparted by the management. Even the services and the benefits will be articulated in these policies that are going to be provided by the organization. Now, performance excellence will also develop a performance management systems. Uh, it is important for the organization to have this because we will be focusing on developing the compensation recognition, the reward recognition, the incentives, even in recognizing the works of the employees involved. Now, in giving all these performance management aspects in developing a very good performance management system will enable the organization to yield a high performance work and workforce engagement because they will be having a very good uh, something to look forward to and a very good motivational yeah, incentives. Okay. Now, how do we do it? No, so the practices for performance excellence would somehow give us a better understanding to assess the workforce engagement, and then the satisfaction even, to assess them, evaluate them, and then once we have made the necessary assessment and evaluation, we use the result for improvement to further develop the systems. Now, in the assessment of the workforce, you would like to get the capacity and the capability that are needed, and use this resort to capitalize on the competencies and address the strategic challenges that may be facing the organization, specifically the employees. Now, the performance excellence practices would also include the recruitment of the best in the industry, and then retained the very good and skilled and competent people inside the organization, and then aiming to accomplish the work efficiently. Now, the performance excellence practices will also make an appropriate investment in developing the employees in terms of skills, learning, for both the workforces and the leaders of the organization. So no one is to be left behind in terms of developing learning skills uh, through seminars, conferences, and exposures to the industry. Now, we don't stop in learning. We also do some activities that would manage the career progression of the members of the organization, the entire workforce. And the succession planning for the management must be recognized even for the leadership position specifically. Now, we may now go to the evolution. There's a foundation of the evolution of the workforce in management. Now, we hear theories by the name of Taylor. And Taylor actually developed the Taylor system and the scientific management system. What is the aim of the Taylor system and the scientific management? It will improve the productivity of the organization. It will even change the manufacturing work into series of mundane and mindless tasks to be focused on the performance level of each manufacturing work. And then it will develop and promulgate the adversarial relationship between labor and management, because an ample and very good communication process has to be developed for everyone to be understood, from the management side, for the labor and employee side. And then it will also has to exploit the knowledge and the creativity of the workforce. And Taylor has given us the failure in these aspects. Now, we've been talking about workforce management. So first, we define what is a workforce management. Actually, the workforce management has also been widely known as the human resource management. You're talking about people. You're talking about the employees. You're talking about the skills, and the qualifications that works under the organization. Now, it consists of those activities that are designed to provide for and coordinate the people of an organization. Now, what does the workforce management articulates into? It determines the organizational's workforce needs. And then they also assist in the design of the system in itself as a whole. And then they improve. And they improve, and very particular about the recruiting process, the selection process. And then after the recruitment and the selection, they determine the potentials in the employees. So the training and developing of these talents should also be introduced and be part of the measures and the procedures. And then organizations actually are not perfect. There will be mishaps. There will be challenges. So the organization must have a counseling department, a counseling areas of concern for the employees. And then at the same time, the workforce management should also engage in an activities wherein motivation will be accorded and reward the employees accordingly. Okay, excuse me. Work excuse me. Now, workforce management will allow the management to act as a liaison with unions and government organizations, because there will be concerns wherein employees management has to talk, meddling with, and in the process of union, meddling for the affairs of both management and the employees. And also the government organizations must have to be as part of the liaisonic function of the management. Now, workforce management will also include handling other matters like employee well-being. So it doesn't stop in giving out all those, a lot of things that are what I've mentioned a while ago, but you go beyond your functions by handling other matters, personal or private, with the employee well-being. Now, the key idea here is that the objectives of an effective workforce system are to build a high-performance workplace and maintain an environment for quality excellence to enable employees and the organization to achieve strategic objectives and adapt to change. Now, we try to connect the workforce engagement and motivation. Recent survey allows us to understand better the workforce engagement and motivation. So there's a survey of 55,000 workers by the Gallup organization. And I have found out the four key employee attitudes that were taken together, and then they correlate one another, yielding higher profit. So what are these? So the results is workers feel they are given the opportunity to do what they do best every day. So that is one very good results that were generated. And they also believe that their opinions count. So management must learn how to listen, learn how to be magnanimous in letting the concerns of the employees. And then they sense their fellow workers are committed to quality. Okay, so knowing that the management is very supportive in their cause, so therefore fellow workers will be committed to achieving quality in the directions of the company's objectives and goals. And then they made a direct connection between their work and the company's mission. So there, a while ago, I've been talking about the alignment between the work attitude of the employees that are aligned with the vision and mission of the company. Now, the workforce engagement will also give us the extent of workforce commitment. How? In both emotional and intellectual, in accomplishing the work, and then vision, using the vision and mission of the organization as their anchor. And then, how do you call them? Engaged workers. Okay? So, how do you engage workers? So, find personal meaning and motivation in their work is number one. And then have a strong emotional bond to their organizations that are involved and committed to their job. And then feel that their jobs are important. Recognize it. Acknowledge them. So know that their opinions and ideas have values and they are being embraced by the management and they are being listened to. Okay, so that's important for you to be able to develop trust and motivation. And then often go beyond their immediate job responsibilities for the good of the organization, definitely. When an employee is highly motivated, so therefore he doesn't count the hours. He believes that whatever his efforts are will be recognized by the organization. And knowing that, it would be a good motivation for an employee to work beyond the job responsibilities given him or her. Now, the key idea here is that the organization with high levels of workforce engagement are characterized normally by high-performing work environments, and people are motivated to do their most, do the maximum effort, going beyond their maximum effort for the benefit of the customers and for the success of the organization. So that is the very good articulation of it. Now, what are the advantages of the workforce engagement? So number one, it replaces the adversarial mentality by developing the trust. And once you develop the trust from your employees, they are very cooperative in whatever forms that you would like to impart to them. Okay, so replaces the adversarial mentality because of the developed trust. It develops also the skills and leadership capability of the individual because they believe in the process. They believe that they are being taken care of. So therefore, the skills and leadership capability of this individual are highly encouraged. Okay. Now, the workforce engagement advantage is that it also increases the morale and commitment of the employee to the organization. And it will also foster creativity and innovation because they are being led into contributing the ideas. Okay, so when there is creativity and innovation, so the source of competitive advantage will be present. a good performance rating would now be inevitable. Now, the advantages also of the workforce engagement is it helps people understand the quality principles. And by understanding the quality principles, it will instill that principles into a corporate culture. Okay, it will be embedded in the corporate culture. Now, and it will allow the employees to solve, problems that at the source immediately. See, and it will not go farther than that because it will be resolved immediately, thus improving quality and productivity in the process. Okay. Now, what is employee involvement? EI, we call it. No? So, these are activity by which the employees will participate in work-related decision making and the process of improvement activities, allowing the objectives of tapping the creative energies of all the employees because they will be engaged all together, thus improving their motivation to work hand in hand all together. Okay. Now, the key idea here is that the EI approaches can range from sharing information to providing input on work-related issues. So there is a participation, a participative approach, and making suggestions to self-directed responsibilities. By coming up with and being with setting goals, one by setting goals, and making even the business decision, handling over the decision for them to make, solving problems, and even cohesiveness with the team, the cross-functional teams, consultations, giving out ideas, and so on and so forth. So that's the very essence of it. Now, we always talk about motivation. We always talk about the definition of what motivation is all about. So they're all over. But then today, what we're going to be articulating today, the motivation is an individual's response to a felt need. Okay, so there, when there's a need, a felt need, it's a response to, and it will allow you to have motivation. Now, there are lots of theories that came about discussing motivation. So, we have content theories, and these content theories, the theories behind it, them are Maslow, McGregor, and Hertzberg. And then next is the process theories. And the process theories, we have the theories like the Vroom, Porter, and Lawler is amongst them. Next motivation theories is environmentally based theories, and they were developed by Skinner, Adams, Bandura, Snyder, and Williams. Okay, so once again, the motivation theories are content theories, process theories, and environmentally based theories. Now, the key idea here is that no such thing as the unmotivated employee, but the system within which people work can either seriously impede motivation or develop or enlarge or enhance it. Okay, so how do we design high performance work systems? So first, we define what is a high performance work. A high performance work refers to work approaches that is used to systematically pursue the ever higher levels of overall organization and human performance. So it's a symbiotic relationship between the organizational process and then the human performance. That is, combining all together will yield to high performance work. Now, the high performance work is characterized and embedded in flexibility, innovation, being innovation, develops knowledge and skills sharing, and then alignment with organization directions and be one with the vision and mission. Uh, do not forget the customer focus and the rapid response to trends and changing business needs and the market requirements. So that these are part of the high performance work systems. Now we define what is work and job design. So and how they are interrelated. So work design refers to how employees are organized in formal and informal unit. So there are departments, there are units, there are teams, and there are there are groups and there are units. That's it. No? So they are divided into a lot of different units, different forms, departments, teams, sections. So there. And job design are referring to the responsibilities and the task assigned to individuals. So there, no. So it is being articulated as a in job description even. Okay. Now the key idea here is that the design of work should bring the best in the individuals with both the intrinsic and extrinsic motivation, helping to achieve the quality and the operational performance of the individual involved. Now, the framework of the Hackman-Oldman, or rather, Hackman-Oldham model. So, you are talking about the core job characteristic, which is the skills variety, the task identity, and the task significance, yielding to the critical psychological stage, which is the experience, meaningfulness of work, and the outcomes that comes with high motivation. So this is part of the Hackman-Oldham model. So skills variety for the core characteristic, task identity, task significance, autonomy is also part of it, and then the feedback from job. So these are the core job characteristic. I will repeat, the core job characteristic is skills variety, task identity and task significance, autonomy, and feedback from job. Now, the critical psychological state for all of those mentioned earlier are experience, meaningfulness of work for skills variety, task identity, and task significance. And then for the autonomy is the experience, responsibility. And then for the feedback from job is the knowledge of actual results. Okay, knowledge of actual results. Now, the outcomes actually will come in these categories: high motivation, high satisfaction, and high work efficiencies or effectiveness. Okay? Now, how do we enhance the work design? So, there is such a thing that we call the job enlargement. So, by the term in itself, enlargement is expanding workers' jobs. Job enlargement. Next is the job rotation. This is having workers learn several tasks and rotate amongst them. So, yeah, so they're being rotated. And then job enrichment is granting more authority, giving more authority, giving more responsibility, and providing more autonomy, for the employees. So again, enhancing work design are the following: job enlargement, job rotation, and job enrichment. Now, what is empowerment? So it's giving simply people authority to make decisions. Decisions based on what is right. Decisions based on their control over their work. And decisions to take the risk and learn from the mistakes, because processes are not perfect. So therefore, they learn from their mistakes and then promote change, encourage change. So there. Because in the empowerment, a sincere belief and trust in people has to be embedded. So, what is successful empowerment? So, a successful empowerment will provide better education, uh, delivery of resources, and encouragement. Successful empowerment will also remove restrictive policies and procedures, no matter what it is, because not all policies and procedures are identifiable to the individual working under it. Now, with the successful empowerment, you will foster the atmosphere of trust. And once you have it, you will get a lot of information and share the information freely by your peers. And then, work will now have a good meaning on it, and make work valuable. Okay? Successful empowerment will also train managers in a hands-off leadership, giving autonomy in decision making, autonomy in planning and everything. So, yeah, directions for the improvements of the process. And then, successful empowerment will also train employees in allowable latitude. Okay? Now, what is a team? Okay, teams. So now you're talking about teams, group of people. It's a small number of people with complementary skills who are committed to a common purpose. You are being given, a form as a team for you to be able to accomplish a certain purpose. It is a set of performance and goals that you will have to work on as a team, and approach for which they hold themselves mutually accountable. So the responsibilities of the team goes for everyone who is part of it. So that is a team. Now, what are the types of teams? We have the management teams. We have the natural work teams. We have the self-managed teams, virtual teams, quality circles, problem-solving teams, and the project teams. Okay? Now, the teams are embedded into uh, uh, performance level in terms of rating them accordingly. So we have these Six Sigma project teams that we call. So how do we go over it? So we start from the team members. And the team members in the Six Sigma project teams are classified as employees who support specific projects. And the next to them is the green belt in a Six Sigma. It is the green belts are the functional employees trained in introductory Six Sigma tools. Okay, next after green belts are the black belts. So what are the black belts? So these are experts who are performing technical analysis. Okay, next to the black belts are the master black belts. So the master black belts are hardly trained experts, and they are responsible for forming strategy formulation, for developing training techniques and activities, mentoring and deployment, and achieving good results out of it. That is the master black belts. Now, the foremost and the maximum, the optimum is the champions. Who are the champions in the Six Sigma project teams? So these are the senior managers who is promoting the Six Sigma. Now, how do we develop and empower the team or a team or teams? So teams are generally formed in organizational settings by direction from a higher level officer, which is a manager or a CEO, a leader, or a governing body, whatever the description is. And they are typically given a broad set of objectives and goals. Now, after that, the team may also be given a periodic time frame and a limited resource for it to promulgate a team or implement a team or plan a team. So if it is going to be a project team, so under the project team, they will be given a time frame and limited resources to work on. Okay, so that is how you develop and empower a team. So, what is the purpose? The key stages of the team's life cycle are called in different forms. No? So, forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning. So, what are these? the life cycle of the teams. So in the life cycle of teams, first is the forming. So what happens there is that the team is being introduced. After introducing, they meet together. And then during the meetup, they explore issues of their new assignment. Okay? After the forming, storming comes along. So storming occurs when team members throw in different ideas. Members disagree on team roles and challenge the way the team will function. So individually, differently, but cohesively. Now, after the forming and the storming comes the norming. So what happens there? When the issues of the previous stages have been worked out and the team members agree on the roles to tackle. And then there are ground rules to be followed and acceptable by all of the team members. Okay? And then acceptable behavior must be installed. There will be rules, policies to follow when doing the work of the team that are acceptable to everyone. Now, after forming, storming, and norming comes performing. So what happens there? Now, it characterizes the productive phase of the life cycle of the team. So when all are cooperative and when all have participated in solving the problem, and when all have participated even to complete the goals of their assigned tasks, so performing now is the character definition. So we have the forming, we have the storming, norming, and then performing. Last would be adjourning. So what happens there? It is the phase in which the team wraps up the project. So it's done, it's finished. Satisfactorily completes its goals. And then prepare to disband, no, or move on to another project that are coming. So that is the life cycle of teams. Now, we're talking about teams here. No? So then, what are the ingredients of or for successful teams? So number one, it should have the clarity in its objective and goals, the clarity in team goals. Okay. Next is the planning. The planning should have an improved version of what was, and it keeps on improving. So the improvement of the plan is necessary. So number one, clarity in team goals, and then improvement of plan. Third is the clearly defined role. So each one of the members of the team has its own merits and responsibilities. Okay? And then communication is very much encouraged. A clear communication must be engaged by everyone. That's part of the ingredients of a successful team. Now, beneficial team behavior. So it should be within the agreeable behavioral behavior characteristics of each of the member of the team. So they have to be accepting. So there. The ingredients for successful teams is will also engage a well-defined decision procedure. So how do you do that? By acceptable. But it has to be acceptable to everyone. And then it has to have a balanced participation by everyone. And then it has to have policy ground rules. Okay, follow established ground rules. And then awareness of the group process. So again, in every process must be it has to be in consultation with almost everyone, with all of the members of the team. And then, as much as possible, use of scientific approach has to be engaged for accuracy and for accuracy, in speculations. So there, so that is how we work on teams. Now we now go to the environment. No? When you say workplace environment, now the key factors in the workplace environment are the following: health, safety, and overall well-being. Health, safety, and overall well-being. So these are the key factors under the workplace environment. Now, what is an engaging workforce in the process excellence? So, first of all, you develop a shared vision and behavioral skills. Now, and then develop skills for team leaders. Now, how do you do that? By coming up with an activity that will resolve conflict management and resolution. And then the team management, the leadership skill and decision making should be also developed for team leaders. No, so communication must be also articulated. He has to have a very good communication skill to be able to convey messages, plans, and all of those things for as team leader. A team leader should also has develop skills on the negotiating, negotiating, yeah, negotiation. A successful negotiation would lead to a very good, yeah, leader. Actually, leader has to, yeah, do all these things, for it to be able to have a successful negotiation on every transactions. And then the team leader should have also a cross-cultural training to understand the diversity composition of an organization. And then the engaging workforce in the process excellence will not only focus on team leaders but also develop skills for the team members. Now, there will be an effective rules for every effective meetings, and the shared decision making should be also part of it. So that is how engaging the workforce in the process excellence is going to be. Because technical tools for gathering and analyzing data, the soft skills are necessary. So what is a soft skill? Soft skills are those that involve people, human resource. As a project management and team facilitation are more difficult to teach and learn. So that is the key idea. Part of the motivation is the compensation recognition. Now, when you say compensation recognition, it refers to all aspects of pay and reward. When you say pay and reward, that will be included in the loop is the promotions, the bonuses, the 13-month, and the recognition. It's either tangible or intangible, monetary and non-monetary, for individual or for group compensation recognition. When you say compensation, so to focus further, it is the merit versus capability. So an employee is given merit because he's capable. He has an exemplary performance. Okay? So another compensation design is gain sharing. The profit sharing, gain sharing is actually very effective because a highly motivated employee would now be looking forward for the profit sharing. And at the same time, it's good to have a tap on the shoulder, the recognition. It could be in the form of a monetary or non-monetary. So it could be, that's it. So it could be in a formal way or informal way of recognizing. A tap of the shoulder is an informal way of recognizing your efforts. And it's a good thing that when someone taps your shoulder, especially the higher level officers, it's a good feeling for an employee to be recognized. And then this recognition will be, again, can be in group or individual. Now, what is an effective recognition and reward strategies? Okay, so in giving out the recognition and rewards, no one should be left out. It has to be across the board. So give both individual and team awards or rewards, and it has to be involved. Everyone should be involved, and then at the same time, tie the rewards to quality, to avoid biases and to rationalize why are you going, why are you giving out rewards and recognition, because it based on the quality performance there. So tie rewards to quality output, and then allow everyone like peers and customers to nominate even and recognize exemplary superior performance to avoid, again, biases. And then it helps that that recognition are being publicized and be known to everyone. So there is should be publicized extensively. And then in all of these activities, it has to be fun. Okay, make the recognition fun so that to make it more uh, uh, memorable for those who are getting it. Now we go along the performance management this time. In the performance management, the measure is how you measured it is how you perform. So it is based on the performance level. Now the conventional performance appraisal system would command a focus on short-term results and individual behavior. And definitely it will fail to deal with uncontrollable factors. So there will be challenges in determining this. Now, what are the new approaches in the performance management? So focus on company goals in measuring quality and then measuring behaviors in like teamwork even. So that's a part of the yeah, where you're able to measure the performance management, and then get a 360-degree feedback. No, nothing's to be left out, and the mastery of the qualifications and the descriptions of the performance management in the assessment tool and the measurement tools. And the key idea here is that the performance appraisals are most effective when based on objectives and support the strategic direction of the company and measuring the best practices of the industry and looking at the continuous improvements based on trends, based on needs, based on the goals and directions. Now, we now assess the workforce engagement by measuring the satisfaction and effectiveness. So it is going to be an outcome measures. So when you say outcome measures, these are number of teams rating their growth, having to get the percentage of the employees involved, and then assessing the number of suggestions that were implemented and how much time were taken to respond to the suggestions, and how many employees were turned over, or how many employees resigned or quit their job. And then the outcome measures will be also be engaged in how many employees are occurring regularly in or committing absenteeism, and grievances even, are they hearing some grievances, the perception of teamwork even, and the management effectiveness should also be measured. The management engagement should also be not left out in the measurement, the satisfaction and empowerment even. So these are how you are going to be assessing the workforce engagement, the satisfaction and effectiveness. Now, another one is the process measure. So whereas a while ago we're talking about the outcome measure, so this time the process measure. So in assessing the workforce engagement through satisfaction and effectiveness. So there are a lot of the number of suggestions that employee make. So these are part of the measures. And then the numbers of participants in a project team should also be measured. The participation in educational program, the average time to take to complete a process, the improvement projects, the team's performance, is it getting worse, getting better, smarter, faster in the performance of their, the improvements of their task, and all of these things. Now, frequency of the use of quality improvement tools, employee understanding of the problem solving approaches, and the senior management involvement are to be under the process measures. Now, after measuring it, now how do you sustain the high performance work systems? Okay, so the work systems that are expected to yield high performance are through regular assessment of the workforce capability and capacity needs. How do you do that? By hiring and training good people and retention and knowing the retention of employees. And then the career progression and succession planning. Okay? What is capability and capacity in the workforce? No, workforce capacity and capacity. Now, the workforce capability is referring to the ability of the organization to accomplish its work processes by using knowledge, skills, abilities, and the competencies of the human resource and the people who are working in the organization. While the workforce capacity is the ability to ensure that sufficient staffing levels to accomplish its work processes and successfully deliver the expected products and services to the intended customers. Okay? And then also including the ability to meet the demands on the demand level of the market. Now, meeting and exceeding customer expectation begins with hiring the best people and getting the right people whose skills and attitudes will support the organization's objective and even improving and enhancing them. Now, what are the effective hiring practices? So, first of all, you determine the skills and the competencies of the key employee that are needed to fill in the job that is open. And then after that, you identify, what are the job candidates? Who are these? Who are these people that are capable? So first, you require and determine the skills and competencies of these individuals. There are measures the HR are doing best. There are tests, there are examinations, there are trainings that can be determined in identifying job candidates based on required skills and competencies. And then the effective hiring practices also is an efficient screen job candidates to predict the suitability and match to the job. So there are mismatches actually, but then apparently a very good and keen observation and analysis on the job responsibility against the job applicant should be matched in terms of competency, ability, education, and skills. Now, in the succession planning, what happens? So there are formal processes to identify, to develop further, and position future leaders. So that's part of the succession planning. Identify, develop, position future leaders. And then in the succession planning, it is important to include efficient or effective mentoring, coaching, and job rotation. Job rotation is important for the for everyone because they would know the nitty-gritty and the ins and out of the process of the organization. Now, the succession planning would also give us a tool, to career pathing and progression for all employees. So the organization would definitely identify who are best suited for the next in line leaders based on the performance that were generated in the previous performance rating measurement. So succession planning is vital to long-term sustainability not only of the employee but the operations of the business as well, and satisfying the intended customers, the demographics of the customers. Now, in the culture of performance excellence, employees are needing to understand the importance of customer satisfaction. Now, so therefore, you will have to undergo training and responsibilities to achieve it. The proper training to enhance yourself and develop your skills and and education, and to feel that they want to make a difference, in the market or the industry. Okay. Now, we now discuss the workforce focus in the Ball-Bridge award criteria. So, in the last chapter, no, we talk about briefly about the Ball-Bridge award criteria. Now, in the workforce focus category, it examines how the organization are engaged or engages, manages, and develop the workforce to utilize the full potential in achieving the organization's vision and mission through strategy formulation and implementing the action plans. Now, it also the focus of the Ball-Bridge criteria will also will give us the tool, no, to address the ability to assess the workforce capability and capacity that they need, and then developing it and developing it into a high performance work environment. So that is the focus in the Ball-Bridge award criteria. Now, another one is the workforce engagement under the Ball-Bridge award criteria. And then the workforce enrichment is another one. And the workforce and leader development is for part of it. Assessment of workforce engagement, workforce environment, workforce capability and capacity, and workforce climate. So these are the workforce focus in the Ball-Bridge award criteria. Again, the category are workforce engagement, workforce enrichment, workforce leader development, work assessment of workforce engagement, workforce environment, workforce capability and capacity, and workforce climate. Now, what is the focus of the workforce in the workforce focus in ISO 9000? Now, in the ISO 9000, the personnel performing work are affecting the product quality should have the capacity and the competence on the basis of appropriateness in education, training, skills, and ample experience. Now, the focus also in the ISO 9000 is that the industry or the organization should determine the level of competence that the employee pool or part of the employee, and they have provided training or other means to ensuring the competency and evaluate the effectiveness of each training, and the actions taken, no, if there is any, and ensuring that the employees are aware of their work contributes to quality of the objectives, and maintaining the appropriate records of education and training and skills development through experience. Now, the focus also, the workforce focus under the ISO 9000 also will address the work environment from the standpoint of building, workplace, workspace rather, utilities, equipment and services needed to achieve in conformance with the product requirements, as well as determining and managing the safetiness of the work environment, the ergonomics and the environmental factors included. Okay, so now we go back to the workforce focus in Six Sigma this time. So teams are an integral part of the Six Sigma implementations. So how? Selecting the right people to serve on teams, and then training and skill development, and then reward and recognition approaches to drive behavior that are vital to the sustenance to Six Sigma efforts. Now, the workforce focus in Six Sigma also will understand how the changes affect the people around them. And that is the necessary issue in the organization, and must possess and address after the Six Sigma projects are completed. Okay? And, the importance of high performance workforce could be engaged in the discussions a while ago. So, I'm sure, I hope, and sure that some of you or all of you have already understood the concept of the chapter 6 discussion on high performance workforce management. Okay, thank you very much and see you again next chapter.